Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 science fiction adventure film Let Us In. A film that is co-written and directed by Craig Moss and it stars Mackenzie Moss, O'Neill Monahan, Eric Callero and Tobin Bell. Yes, Tobin Bell from the Saw films. Now this film focuses on a small town in America. Well, it actually focuses on like an urban legend. I don't know. I've not heard of this urban legend. Apparently, there's these black-eyed teens that are spotted. I'm not sure if it's all over America or all over the world. A bit of an urban legend, and this film kind of makes the film out of this urban legend, and it focuses on a young girl and her brother. I think it's a brother in a small American town. There are a series of teenagers that go missing, and the only thing that can be linked to them are a bunch of teenagers with black eyes that keep turning up, asking people the same question: "Will you let us in?" They target this young girl and her brother, and it is up to her to basically solve the mystery of what is going on. Right, what are my thoughts on Let Us In? A really interesting idea, actually, to make a film out of this urban legend and stuff. It sounds an interesting urban legend. I think the biggest problem that I have with this film is it's got a real identity crisis. At times it feels like an 80s Spielberg type movie, like a Goonies or all them films that we got in the 80s, Flight of the Navigator and all this kind of stuff. It's got these young actors in it who, like, they build this, like, communications device to speak to extraterrestrials, and lo and behold, all these strange occurrences start happening and teens start going missing, and there seems to be an extraterrestrial link to it. Tobin Bell plays like the town weird guy who's got more answers that he cares to let on, but nobody dare approach him, if you like. So it's trying to be one thing and trying to be the other, if you like. It's trying to be a scary horror film in some aspects, and in other aspects it's like this children's adventure film. It's got a real identity crisis, and it doesn't know what it wants to be, one or the other, and it ends up being neither, really, which is a real shame, because I thought this film had quite a bit of potential. I thought for a fairly low budget film it had a decent idea. The performances, I think, by everybody, there's a couple of the younger actors, could have probably done better, but the young actors, I'm sure they'll improve. To get Tobin Bell in the film was a nice little, thing to have. And, while he's not in it long, he has a fairly pivotal part, even though it's mainly exposition that he gives the characters. And there's plot devices left, right, and centre here in the film. Like, Tobin Bell gives the character like a whistle and says, "Use that if you want to hurt these things." And you just think, well, okay, where did you get it from? How do you know it hurts them, etc., etc., etc.? And it doesn't follow its own rules as well. We are told by Tobin Bell's character in this film that the reason why they keep saying, "Will you let us in?" is they need permission. These creatures, whatever they are. And if you give permission, then you'll regret it. If you don't give permission, then they'll kind of, make your life a living hell anyway, almost. But it'd be far worse if you did give permission. But other than one character in the film where they said yes, I think nobody else gives permission. And what are they giving permission for? It's not as it doesn't really make sense what they're giving permission for. And many times in the film, it doesn't follow its own rules, because they keep constantly asking this question, and most of the characters say no. Do one, I don't like it, and swearing at him, etc., etc. But they still become violent anyway, and it's odd. It's an odd film in a lot of ways, because it doesn't explain itself particularly well. You're not really. It does explain what the purpose of these things are, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense the way you go about doing it. So there are flaws with this film. There are many plot devices in this film that don't make a lot of sense, but still there are a lot of aspects of it that I thought were pretty good. It did remind me a lot of these, 80s films, like I said, Flight of the Navigator, Goonies, oh, so many of them. These Monster Squad, all that kind of stuff. Young kids like investigating strange goings on and all this kind of stuff, and go on adventures. And I would have been really interested in seeing that. You know what I mean? If they'd have lightened the film a little bit more, made it a little bit more of an adventure. But like I said, it just keeps this identity crisis going. It just doesn't know what it wants to be. Full on sci-fi, full on horror, or a more family-friendly adventure film, and it doesn't succeed in being any of them really. But it's a decent idea, decent production values. Everyone does a decent job in the film. It's watchable, certainly. I'll give this one a 5 out of 10. That's my review for Let Us In. I hope you liked it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.